Yeah, so what we tell you to do is with that strategy, we have what we call our $1 million plan. And so in your $1 million plan, we base everything off of numbers. I'm not doing nothing because I want to or because it feels good, or I'm not doing the things that's going to make me feel good. I'm going to do the things that's going to get me to the result. So in your $1 million plan, we say, okay, what's the goal? How much money we got to make? How many customers we got to reach? How many people need to come to the site? And how many people need to see our marketing? And so we identify those key metrics, because now once I know how many people need to see my marketing, I can look at my organic, which is what I already have, and say, okay, I got access to these people on socials, these people on emails, these people on text messages, but I'm still left with X amount of people. And so now I know I got to reach the rest of these people some way, somehow. I can do Facebook ads. I can do Instagram ads, TikTok ads. I can go on a billboard. I can do a podcast run. There's only 3 ways to get traffic: build, borrow, or buy.
You're listening to the Black to Business Podcast, an educational podcast providing Black entrepreneurs with the tools and resources to start and grow their businesses. We chat with vetted Black entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and business owners as they provide tips and resources to help take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall. As an entrepreneur and creator, you've created this amazing idea, tested it, and know that it works, but you aren't seeing the revenue goals you want in your business. Have you ever thought about it just might be your marketing? Well, if so, today's episode is just for you, because our guest is sharing why marketing is the heartbeat of your business. Specifically, we're discussing marketing campaigns and why you should implement them into your business. Joining me to lead the conversation on creating powerful and profitable marketing campaigns is 2-time published author and digital marketing maven, Monrae, aka Marketing by Monrae. In 2020, Monrae created the Millionaire Mob University, where she provides the programs and products to make marketing simple and help her students go from invisible to visible, then visible to paid. By doing so, Monrae hit her first $1 million year by the age of 26. Today, she will share her $1 million strategy with her 8 steps to campaign process. Not only that, Monrae is going to provide tips on how you can create a $1 million plan, decide on the marketing mediums to use to reach your target audience, and how to measure the success of your campaign, and so much more. This is another masterclass podcast episode, so you want to make sure you have something to take notes with. Now, let's dive in. Monrae, welcome to the Black to Business Podcast. I'm excited about today's conversation, so welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Yay! So today we're going to be talking all about how to create a powerful and profitable marketing campaign. But before we dive in, I just want to let my audience know who I'm speaking to. So if you could share a little bit about who you are, what is it that you do in your business, and how did you get where you are today?
Yeah, like I said, I'm super excited to be here. Hey guys, my name is Marketing by Monrae. I am a marketing strategist and business development coach, and my goal is to equip CEOs with the knowledge and the tools and the resources to be able to help them maximize their revenue through our $1 million marketing system. So I'm really excited to talk about marketing today. This is my favorite thing. But yeah, a lot of people, don't know how I got started. But one thing is that, I started as an agency owner. So I love marketing. I always say I'm a marketer first and I am a coach second. So I am a marketer for sure.
I love that. Yes, I'm excited. So before we get in, I like to speak to my audience and get them to understand as a 5th grader will understand. So First, let's start off with the importance of marketing and kind of diving into why marketing is important for business.
Absolutely. So a lot of people know about marketing. They hear this word, but they necessarily may not know exactly what it is, right? Mm-hmm. So I always explain to people that marketing is the way that you attract the money, period. So at the end of the day, you are here to make money in your business. Right. So that is how you attract your money. And so the goal of marketing is really for you to be able to attract your customers, get them into your offer, and really get them to buying your products and get them to experience the product or service that you actually have. So marketing is super important in business, because if I always say that marketing is the heartbeat of your business. And if your heart is not beating, you're dead.
Right.
So that is one thing I would always say is a problem with people's businesses, because they are not marketing.
All right. So one of the things I love that you said is that you help people maximize marketing so that they can reach these profitable goals in their business. So let's dive into really understanding how marketing campaigns play a role in business. So what exactly is a marketing campaign and why are they so important? Let's first.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in what we really zone in on to maximize your revenue is our $1 million marketing system. And this has been a marketing system. It's a 3-part system that I have implemented in my business and elevated my business to a multi-7-figure business, but also in several other businesses in other industries. Mm-hmm. And part of that system is, one, is visual marketing, and that's how you attract the money. 2 is social selling, that's how you make the money. And then 3 is leadership development, and that's how you keep the money. And so in visual marketing, that's where we zone in on our campaigns and that content. And a lot of people don't really understand what a campaign is, but we are literally like in a campaign every day, right? And so we have an 8-part campaign system where we teach people how to launch campaigns. And a campaign, by definition, is an organized course of actions to achieve a goal. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And a lot of times people are seeing like the campaigns from Popeyes with Megan Thee Stallion, or, you know, they campaigns, they're like, yeah, that's cute, but I could never do that in my business. But if you go back to the definition, it's an organized course of actions to achieve a goal. So are you organized? Are you doing multiple things? Because you do understand that marketing is multiple layers, not just one thing. And do you have a goal? If you have those 3 things, then you now can produce a campaign.
Oh, I love it. This is so good. This is so good. Breaking it down. Yeah. Now, so Monrae, would you say that when you said, because one of the things you mentioned is we're always in a campaign, not even noticing it, but from a business aspect, would you say this is for every business to consider, or if it's at a certain time, a point in their business that they should consider, doing campaigns?
No, absolutely. Every business should consider and implementing a campaign. And what I talk about is, a lot of times when we think about the campaign, we think about the visuals, we think about the content, the pictures, the theme, and that's only one out of our 8 steps. That's one step, and you do that to attract your audience and give them something to relate to, but you still need strategy, you still need goals, you still need a traffic plan, you still got to have a launch plan. All of those things keep you organized. And I tell people the very thing that you're shying away from is the very thing that's going to provide you the solution that you're looking for. So a lot of times business owners are very overwhelmed when it comes to marketing because of all of the things. You got to do traffic and Pinterest and this and that. It's so much when it comes to marketing, but a campaign, once again, is organized. So it gives you that organization. It's a course with your course of actions, which means it identifies all the things that you need to do. And it helps you actually have a goal so that you're working towards something. So a campaign is the solution to you being overwhelmed.
I love it. And now let's talk about the role that strategy plays in this process. What role do you feel that strategy plays in the process of all of this? And let's start there.
Yeah, no. First of all, like I said before, I am, number 1, I'm a marketer. Number 2, I'm a coach. And so one thing with marketing is strategy. You have to have strategy. And a lot of people, especially business owners, when I talk to business owners, I always say that you have to be a strategist at heart, even as a CEO. Like, you always have to be thinking higher level at all the things. You got to think about, okay, if I do make $1 million, how much, inventory am I going to need? What is this going to do to my team? You got to think about all the things, right? And so that's you providing strategy. And so with your marketing campaigns, it's the same thing. How do you look at the bigger picture and get to the goal as simple as possible, right? And so that is why you have to have strategy, so you're not overworking yourself, you're not doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, and then you're really getting to that goal as easy as possible.
That is so key, because it's a lot of times we go into things without a plan and without a strategy. Like you said, we become overwhelmed. So I love that. And that's one of the things we always reinforce on the Black to Business podcast is the importance of a strategy. So I'm glad you really spoke about the importance of that when it comes to marketing and these campaigns.
No, absolutely.
Yes. So what are the consequences besides overwhelm of not having a strategy?
So there's so many consequences. Number one, you ain't gonna make no money. That's the biggest consequence. But I would say you're going to be overwhelmed when it comes to your marketing, because you're not going to know what to do. And what that causes in entrepreneurs, because I always, like I said, in the $1 million marketing system, number 3 is leadership development. And the reason why we even added that, because you wouldn't think that has anything to do with marketing. But the number one thing that I always talk to my CEOs about is that you are typically the business. So if you are the business and you are overwhelmed and you don't understand and you're not leading with strategy, what is happening with the business? So how can you make sure that you are in the right headspace? And so that providing you with being able to market and make it simple so that you understand it, even if marketing is not your thing, you have to put yourself in the right headspace so that your business follows suit. And that's why it's really important to lead with strategy, because you will get overwhelmed and your business, it doesn't matter how many contractors or team members on your team, you are the head and you are required to provide vision. And if your vision is blurry, nothing on the team or nothing in the business will be able to follow suit without you.
That's a hook right there. You have to have a vision. I love it. And what are some of the risks, if there are any, associated with marketing campaigns? And I want to kind of dive in at this time on talking about like budgeting for these things.
Mm-hmm. So I would say the risk, the number one risk is if you try to, because, as business owners, we're like, okay, she told me 8 steps, but I'm going to do step 2, 5, and 7. So if you don't follow the method, because I lead with strategy, so there's a reason why there's 8 steps, right? So if you don't follow the method, you can risk it not working, because all the things work together. And a lot of times in business, we are trying to expedite our success, right? Because we're in this microwave society and we're trying to expedite our success. And so we are trying to do everything super quick. And so we end up leaving out the key details. So the one thing is it can fail if you don't do all the right things. And the second thing I would say risk wise is if you haven't established, and I wouldn't say this is a risk, it's more so of, because I think anything in business is a lesson, regardless if you failed or not, you at least learn how not to fail again, right?
Right.
But one thing I would say is if you haven't established your business, like who you're talking to, where you're going, what's the long term, where are we going, right? And this is something I went through in 2020 when I pivoted to the Millionaire Maven University, because I knew I needed to start educating CEOs when we were in our agency. So when I pivoted, but I didn't have a clear vision of what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Like I was just of like, I need to educate, I need to teach, I need to, do the things. And I'm an awesome teacher. And so, people would love our programs. They would love our classes. They would love working with me. But the mistake that I made was that I didn't think about the longer vision. And I tell my students now that, I was awakened and I realized that, I don't want to just like have you here in a 5-day program or have you here in a, 3-week program or whatever. I want to do life with you. I want to see the highs and lows in your business. And I want you to see the highs and lows in mine so I could tell you how to avoid it, And so with that, we created continuity programs so that I could do life with my students. But I say all of that to say that when you don't have a vision, you just in a rat race, right? Like you just trying to go and get the money and get the whatever you're trying to do, right? But you're not developing things that's for the longevity. And what I want to help develop is Fortune 500 companies. I don't want you to just be here for a second or a minute. Like I want you to really be here for a while. So, you really have to be clear on where you're going and where you're trying to get to so that you can do the right things today.
I love it. And would you say that those are some of the more common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs and business owners make when it comes to these marketing campaigns, is not thinking about the vision and longevity? Is there anything else you would say?
I would also say not thinking about the result. Like you always should go with the end in mind, and then everything else should be working towards. I was actually talking to my brother, and he got an album coming out, and I was talking to him about his campaign, and I was really like, he was saying some things about like how he wanted to market it like ESPN, and I talked to him about it, and I was like, well, who is your customer? Who are you talking to? Like, what are you trying to get to? And so you have to think about the end. If your customer is a woman, then we don't know nothing about ESPN, right? So you got to think about the end goal in mind so that you actually can get to.
Such great advice. And one of the things you also mentioned earlier was just kind of like these mediums that people are placing themselves on to get these campaigns across to their target audience. I want to dive deeper into how does one decide on their marketing mediums overall?
Yeah, so what we tell you to do is with that strategy, we have what we call our $1 million plan. And so in your $1 million plan, we base everything off of numbers. I'm not doing nothing because I want to or because it feels good, or I'm not doing the things that's going to make me feel good. I'm going to do the things that's going to get me to the result. So in your $1 million plan, we say, okay, what's the goal? How much money we got to make? How many customers we got to reach? How many people need to come to the site? And how many people need to see our marketing? And so we identify those key metrics, because now once I know how many people need to see my marketing, I can look at my organic, which is what I already have, and say, okay, I got access to these people on socials, these people on emails, these people on text messages, but I'm still left with X amount of people. And so now I know I got to reach the rest of these people some way, somehow. I can do Facebook ads. I can do Instagram ads, TikTok ads. I can go on a billboard. I can do a podcast run. There's only 3 ways to get traffic: build, borrow, or buy. So if you already got the build, which is your organic traffic, then okay, cool. Am I going to borrow it or I'm going to buy it? And one is you need relationships and the other one you need money. So it just really depends on where you're at. And then you use those numbers to make those decisions, because as CEOs, we are still human, regardless that we are in these positions in these companies. We're still human and we still have feelings. So we may feel like something works. So I always tell people to like let the numbers guide your decision and not the other way around.
So good. You are breaking it down, honey. Yes, I love it. So let's talk about creating a powerful and profitable campaign. What does it really take to run a successful marketing campaign? And can you touch on planning and, well, you already kind of touched on this, but planning and goals?
Yes, absolutely. So our 8 steps to our campaign process is something that I developed because I know, like I said, that everybody doesn't understand marketing. Like I've heard so many times, as a CEO, yeah, that's just not my thing. Like I'm not gonna do it. And I always tell people, like, it might not be your thing, but you gotta know enough to provide your team strategy, because you have to be the one to give the vision. So we have an 8-step process, and step 1 is identify your focus product, really zone in on what that offer is. Step 2 is your concept and strategy. So what is that marketing message? How are you going to tell that visually? And then what is the strategy when it comes to your $1 million plan for you to get there? Step 3 is mapping it out. So now that we understand our numbers, what are all the things that need to happen to support that? What are the content? What are the social media posts? What are the emails? What are the text messages? What are all the things? And we got ads. What are all the things that need to happen to support that goal that we set? And then we move on to step 4. And that is where we create the content. Now you're writing your copy, you're taking your pictures, you're doing all the things to actually create the content that you need to deploy. And then step 5, that's when we execute and launch. So that's when we're launching the product, we're implementing our social selling tactics, and we're actually starting to make the money. But then once we launch, we move on to step 6, which is monitoring. Don't just launch and not look at your numbers and see, because based on your strategy, you should know how many people you should be able to reach each day, how much money you should be making each day, right? Based on your activity and what you're doing. So are you hitting those numbers, or do we need to move to step 7, which is pivoting? So if something is going wrong, let's pivot now. Let's not wait, let's go ahead and pivot. Or if it's going super right, like maybe you ran an ad that was going crazy, like it was getting really good results. Well, let's throw some gasoline on that and run some more traffic, right? Like pivoting, so it may not have been in a plan, but be flexible enough to get there. And then step 8 is analyze. Once everything is over, really document what happened, what didn't happen, what should have happened, so that you can pull that documentation out again later on when you run a similar campaign.
I love it. And how do you measure the success of a campaign?
So it goes back to that strategy. So depending on what your numbers are, because when we do our strategy, it tells me how much traffic I need each day, how many people I need to the website each day, all the way down. I can measure how many people are supposed to go to my website after I post a certain post, or after I send a certain email. In 24 hours, I can measure those numbers. And so if I'm keeping those daily KPIs, then I'm saying, okay, it's doing well. Like I'm on the right track. And a lot of times we don't know that we're on the right track or we're not on the right track until the end, or we're measuring money. And so if the money is coming in, you think that it's working. You can make a lot of money from a campaign and it still not be a successful campaign. And the reason why is because I'm doing a certain thing. Let's just say I'm trying to get people to buy, I'm trying to get people to buy a red lipstick, but I'm sending all of this traffic to the site and everybody is getting a pink lipstick. Something is wrong, right? Like, even though I made money, that's cool, but something in my creatives is wrong, or something happened that maybe they clicked the link and it redirected them, but you need to figure it out, because you can't duplicate that again. If you try to do one thing and something else happened, that's not a process that you could do again. It happened by luck. And so I always tell CEOs to like really look at their numbers, and the question that you always ask is why. Like I'm like, okay, we made $2,500 today. I wasn't expecting that. Why? Where that money come from? How I get here? What y'all did? And so I need to know so we can do it again and again. And your goal as a CEO is to do these marketing campaigns so you can create a seamless process that you can do over and over again. We want to step out of these businesses, but if we don't have enough information, knowledge, and data to give to our teams to tell them what to do, what works when we leave, then they're not going to be able to duplicate our results. So while you're still in the business on the day-to-day, your job is to get that information so that when you do step away, your team can duplicate the results and say, hey, I can make money without you.
So good. And Monrae, what would you say separates those who earn the 6 figures and have that 6-figure campaign from those who don't?
I would say the number one thing is doing all the things, for sure, right? Because You're probably like, I could see someone listening to this podcast and they're like, man, that sounds great. Like, but they're still like, man, I don't have time for that. Like, I can't do that. I still work my job. Like, and I get it. Like, it's a lot. I never said that marketing was going to be easy, but I did say our processes allow you to make it simple, right? And so you have to find a way to get it all done, so that you can be able to get the results that you need. And so I also tell people it goes into planning, like making sure that you spend enough time in that planning phase and that pre-launch phase where you're, helping your audience anticipate what's coming on up. And they're super excited, because that's the difference between a really great campaign and a really not so great campaign. Because if you don't have enough people interested in the offer, then a lot of times you're not going to be able to get the results that you're looking for. It goes back to numbers. And so I was telling my students yesterday, I said, I've seen 7-figure campaigns where they make 7 figures in a day. Right. And that's like, oh my God, I would love to make $1 million in a day. But guess how long they spent on anticipation, building, planning? It could have been 3 to 6 months. And a lot of times as CEOs, especially in the African American community, we don't have enough cash flow to sustain us for 3 to 6 months for us not to do nothing. Just completely on this campaign, so it can make us that 7-figure day. And it sounds good, but you still have to do all of the work for you to get there. You're building, you're list building, you're doing all the things, so you're qualifying those people and they're ready to spend with you on that 7-figure day.
And what are some of the useful tools for marketing campaigns? Like, for those who are listening, like, what are some tools that they should have? Keep in mind.
No, absolutely. So the number one tool you need is our $1 million marketing planner.
Yes.
So is a campaign planner. And every step that I just told y'all, it allows you to go through those steps. I guide you. There's QR codes with videos and all of the things, so you have it. But I will also say making sure it depends on how you stay organized. Like, you have to understand yourself as a CEO to be able to move. So I'm an organized person. So I like spreadsheets and Google Docs and charts and stuff. Like, that's how I visualize stuff. Now, some people are like, girl, I just need to write it in a notebook and I can check it off. Or I could just write it in my notes. I can't do that. I need my project management system with my spreadsheet. So you got to kind of understand you and think about how you work. But yeah, definitely something where if you have a team, you need a project management system. We use ClickUp, but they have simpler systems like Asana or Trello or whatever, but something where you can communicate with your team. But you really just need to organize it. Even if you don't complicate it, because I can tell y'all all these systems and then you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to not do it. So I would say find the simplest way for you to get it done and then execute, and then come back after you execute and optimize.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And let's talk about the problems you're solving and what you have going on. So I know you have a book. Talk about your book and what inspired you to write it and what you want the reader to get out.
Yeah. So, like I said, our goal is to be able to help CEOs maximize their revenue with our $1 million marketing system. And one way I've been able to do that is through visual marketing, and we teach campaigns. And so I created my book, Campaign of My Life. And this is actually my second book, but this book is so special to me. I talk about how I went through life. I started out talking about how I went through life not even knowing I had a talent, not knowing that my knowledge was a thing. And a lot of people don't know. I went to school, but I actually went to school for accounting. So I never really learned marketing in school, but I had this innate talent. And at 19, I started my business. And I always say this, God-given talent, because a lot of things I would think of and I'd be like, oh, this makes sense, like the $1 million plan. And then I would create it, I would name it, and I'm like, it makes sense, it works. And then I would be validated in the marketing industry because they're like, oh yeah, that's called traffic, whatever, forecasting or whatever. I'm like, oh, I just created this up in my mind. So I would realize that, God is really downloading some stuff because I didn't go to school for this or anything. So my book is about my campaign of my life, how I started that business at 19 years old up until I made my first $1 million in 2020. It talked about the highs, the lows, the things that I had to go through and overcome, and how I really became a millionaire at 26. And so I love the campaign of my life because I really poured it all. And I talk about at the end, I talk about my challenges in business afterwards. So there will be a sequel to the book where I will talk about 2021, where I literally everything broke loose in the business, and how I really talk about like how $1 million broke my business. And that is how I developed the $1 million marketing system, and even added that leadership development, because that is what I really had to zone in on and why. But the book is really an intimate read. It talks about marketing, so you understand those 8 steps, but it also shows it in story format, so you understand how I got here through those 8 steps.
I love it. And I just love the fact that you're being transparent in your story. I think that people love that in business and they resonate with it. You know, it's not all perfect. And so congratulations to you. Where can people find the book?
Yes, you can find the book on Amazon. It will be The Campaign of My Life. And it's written by Marketing by Monrae.
Love it. So now let's talk about how you are helping entrepreneurs and business owners with their business need on the day-to-day. So can you just talk about your offerings and your process?
Yeah, so like I talked about before, one of the things that I realized is that I wanted to do life with my students. Like, I don't want to leave, right? And so, it was so funny because it was like this running joke in my community that I would have a 3-week class and we'll be in there for 12 weeks. They was like, Monrae, you don't on time, but it was like I just feel like you're not ready, you know. But that's how much I care about, you know, my students' success. And so I created continuity plans so that we can have annual membership, and so you are there for a year. So we have our membership, which is a do it at your own pace program. And so you learn about content and traffic. So if you haven't built your audience, then you get inside of the School of Content and Traffic. But if you have an audience and you're really ready to explode your sales and figure out how you can really become that best leader, we have our mastermind, which talks about our $1 million marketing system. So we teach you how to launch campaigns and how to do it in a simplified format. We also teach you how to social sell, like how to create one-to-one buying relationships with your customers. And then our third thing is that we teach you about leadership development. So that means how to develop your team, how to pick out the right marketing agencies or whoever you want to work with, and how you can be the right CEO and how to build that business around it. So that is our mastermind program. And I'm just super excited about that because we're really excited to pour into those students. But what we have coming up is our homecoming conference 2022. And I'm just overjoyed, excited. So one thing that was important to me is community. Like, community has really helped me along my journey. Like, I remember, and I talk about this in a book, when I had my miscarriage in December, and I talked about if it wasn't for the community that I was in, nobody else would understand. Like, yeah, my mom could understand the fact that I lost a child, but she didn't understand the fact that I lost a child. I still had to pay payroll. We wasn't making money. Like, she didn't understand those parts of the business. And a lot of times, need those business owners to be around you, that's around you, and pray for you. Like, these people will call me and lay hands on me, okay? And so you need community. A lot of people feel like they're doing this alone. And so this is why I am creating a homecoming conference 2022. One, for us to come on home and really learn how to create content, learn how to social sell, but also you got to be in the room. So we're not even offering virtual tickets. Like, you got to be in the room. So that you can get this community, you can network, and you can find those lifelong friends that you've been looking for in business.
Love it. And when is the conference?
Yes, so the conference is October 14th through the 16th here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm super excited about it.
I love that. And that is like homecoming season. So perfect. You are a marketing genius. Yes, you are. I'm like, that is definitely at least HBCU homecoming.
Yes, it is. It is. It's actually the weekend of my homecoming in school. I didn't even realize it, but yes, it's the same.
Yeah, I love it. And where can people go to find out more about the homecoming conference?
Yes, I would say go to our website, mobuniversity.org. That is mobuniversity.org. You can also come to my Instagram page at Marketing by Monrae. You can DM me if you got questions. We are here to help.
I love it. And Monrae, I know you've worked with some amazing people. I want to talk about some of your transformation stories from your clients. So if you could just share some of those stories and the results that you've been able to get for your clients.
Yes, we've done so much. So on the agency side, and I always talk about when I own the agency, because I feel like this shows people that, like I said, I'm a marketer first. And so on the agency side, we used to work with a lot of corporations and a lot of brands. And I really, this what motivated me to be able to give, this information to CEOs. So I'm like, if these people making 7 figures, I know we can do it. And so I worked one of my major campaigns that I love from beginning to end. I worked with Lyra Galore, and we launched her Laid by Lyra. And so with the Laid by Lyra campaign, that was like my first campaign and first business I launched from beginning to end, with everything from product development to packaging to everything, right? And so that was an amazing campaign. And we did a 7-figure launch and sold out in minutes. And I helped put her brand in beauty supply stores all over the world. So that was one of our agency clients. But inside of the Millionaire Mob University, we've had so many success stories. We have helped our clients generate over $13 million in the last 2 years. And our goal is to help them generate over $100 million in the first 10 years of conception. And I just always talk about the vision of where we're going. Eventually, we will have a brick and mortar school where you can come and learn marketing. We want to be in major cities all over the United States. So that is our goal. And we want to continue to help business owners make money. Like this, you making money, and I truly seen this in the pandemic, but you making money in business is so important to me, because you are shifting the community, you are shifting your families, and you are providing generational wealth, and you're changing the trajectory of our history forever. Our ancestors will be proud of us, right?
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we continuing fighting, and not let all the things that they went through in vain. So I'm super excited that I'm able to even just be a beacon of light to help people be able to achieve their goals.
I love that. And I'm so glad that you shared that, and I felt it. And Monrae, what would you say has been your greatest risk?
That's a good question. My greatest risk. Y'all, so I think in my younger age, I'm talking about younger, like I'm old, but I'm only 28. But in my younger age, like when I started from 19 to about 25, y'all, I had a high risk tolerance. So anything that happened, I was doubling down. If I made 100, I'm putting 99 back into the business, because I know I'm a bet on myself, right? And so that I got a little older, I'm like, child, I gotta slow down, but I think that my biggest risk has always been honestly betting on myself, because I was in a space where I was making I was a 6-figure agency owner, and so I was making $20,000-$30,000 a month, and I stepped out of that space with I had no idea. I was doing classes at the time, but they were $15 webinars. I wasn't making real money from it. And so I stepped out of that space, turned it down, turned all my customers, my clients away. And I was like, okay, I'm betting on myself, and I'm educating my audience, because I know that they need this. And I remember going through something so heart-wrenching, because I actually I closed my agency down and partnered with another agency, and we ended up closing 4 months later. And so I was like, Jesus, now you told me to come over here. I thought this was the $1 million thing. Now what I'm supposed to do? And so I heard clear as day for him to tell me go back and do what I told you the first time. And that was really, that was life changing to me because I was supposed to be teaching. I was supposed to be educating. And so that's why I'm here.
I love that you said that, because I often think about one of the things I've said before is that sometimes when we are taking people's advice who are not our audience, sometimes it could lead us on a path that's not in alignment with the original vision. And I think about me with Black to Business. What I was getting all this advice from people who weren't in my target audience, and it just got me off a path. But what ended up happening is years later, it took me some time and a lot of mistakes. I ended up coming back to my original vision. And for you to say that, and I just think that is so true for many of us and people who are listening, is it's like, stay true to the vision. And, when listening to other people and stuff like that. So I just
absolutely. I think that's super important because we do wellness calls for people on our list. And so a lot of times I always hear from our team, even sometimes I jump in to do some of the calls, and people, one, they're always like so surprised that we call them. But the second thing is that I talk to people that may have purchased our program a year ago or a couple months ago, and they always are telling me like, no, I gave up. Like, I just went back. And it's like, girl, you got to keep going.
Right.
Like, this is it. Anybody needed to hear this. If you was on the verge of giving up, you were on the verge of closing the lights, turning the lights off and closing up shop, right? Like, know that you have to keep going. Rome was not built in a day. You have to understand that you have to keep going. And so I just want to tell people that because we hear it all the time. Like, we literally hear it all the time.
Yes. And you spoke about, your team and how you had to take a step back and learn the leadership portion of things. Like, you've been doing so amazing. What are some of your favorite tools and resources that keep you in alignment and just keep you on track?
Yeah. So one thing that I have done more recently is putting myself first. I think that a lot of people don't necessarily understand, especially CEOs, the importance, because literally, y'all, I'm not even going to tell y'all. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. It was a point where I would be sitting at my desk, so in my groove, so like working so hard, and I would be so thirsty, and I would not get up and go get me no water because I'm like, I got and so that may sound small, but that was how I was treating myself and my body for this business. And so the thing that I've done is really, I've really taken advantage and I've mastered my time. Like, if it's not on my schedule, it do not exist. So I use my calendar, very important. Like, my calendar is very important. I also add personal stuff. I add my date nights on there. I add my time with God. I add my workouts. Like, everything is on the calendar so I can hold myself accountable to it. So my calendar is probably the most important thing that I have.
And what's some advice that you would give to someone in their first 2 years of business?
So in the first 2 years of business, the thing that I would say is, figure it out, right? Like, you have to like literally zone in and focus. And a lot of times I feel blessed because I did start my business at 19. So I had nobody to answer to. I ain't had no man. I ain't had nothing, right? And and I had to zone in and focus. Nothing else was more important than that business. And so the reason why I say that is because a lot of times you like you only got 100% of energy. So if you giving 20% to this, 10% to this, so find the amount of energy that you can put into this business and be consistent with it. Like, be consistent and every day working on it, like really keep your head down and work and learning, right? So, and when I say figure it out, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in today's age, depending on where you are, you could be younger, older, but I hear it all the time about, I don't know how to do this. I can't do this. Or right? And it's like, figure it out. We have a core value in our company of dedication. And I tell my team that never leave a problem. There's always a solution, even if it's not a perfect one. So figure it out and come to me with a solution. And so I think that we have to keep that mindset that it doesn't have to be perfect. Done is better than perfect. And you can go back and
Love it. Love it. And Monrae, what does it mean to you to be Black in business?
Yes. So I love that. Black to business means to me that I authentically, and I think that this is why a lot of people relate to me, but I am authentically me business. If I want to say girl, sis, babe, whatever, I can show up the way that I want to show up. But it also means to me that, you know, pouring back into our community. And a lot of times people say, well, why would you want to say that you want to help Black and brown women or minority women? Like, you know, all women need help. And I'm like, they got help. What about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, they got the whole world, right? Like, they got help. So it's like, all right, why do we can't, you know, zone in on us? And so I really, really, really love that I get to help African American women. And we have women of minority in our community as well. We have women, the Caucasian women in that community. I'm like, we're not changing, though. The mission don't change. So I would say that it's because we do not get the light, we don't get the power that we need. And so I love what you're doing, and I love the business model.
Thank you. Thank you. And such a powerful message. Yes, I totally agree with you all the way. And this has been such a treat. You've really, really poured a lot into us. And I'm sure people who are listening are going to want to know, I know you mentioned it a little bit before, but how can they connect with you? How can they find you? And how can they support you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would love to stay connected to you guys. So definitely connect with us. Let us know that you heard us on the Black to Business podcast. You can DM me if you got any questions. You can go to our website at mavuniversity.org. You can follow me on all social networks at Marketing by Monrae. And we would love to continue to work with you and help you grow your business. We want to help you become that millionaire.
Love it. Monrae, thank you so much, so much for being on the show. And I just love your spirit. I love everything that you are doing. And I love that you, like you said, show up authentically as you and what you're doing for our community. So thank you so much for pouring into my community and just being here today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. Y'all have a blessed day.
Simply amazing. And Monrae has such a beautiful personality, so such a pleasure to speak with her about all things marketing and marketing campaigns. There were so many takeaways, but a few that stuck out to me were that every business should be running marketing campaigns, but you should also have a strategy. So number one, have a strategy. And I love that she said, just because you make a lot of money from your campaign, it doesn't always mean that it's a good thing. You have to understand where the results came from. So make sure you're paying attention to your numbers and the data. Such value. And you can find out more about Marketing by Monrae and the resources that she mentioned on our website at blacktobusiness.com/109. And do us a huge favor and share this episode with a friend who might also find value. And you can also tag us across social media at Black to Business. That's all, folks. Chat with you next week. Same time, same place.